points. Anyway, so here we're going to graph this one now, okay? So what we have here is we have x squared minus 2x plus 3. And what we have is a equals 1, b is minus 2, c is 3. So now we get x equals negative b over 2 times a. It's just like what we did before, right? We have to get negative b over 2 times a, like so. And so now I'm substituting. So b we replace with negative 2. Okay? And then we have 2 times a, so 2 times 1. And so we get negative 2 over negative 2. Excuse me, what we end up getting is the negatives cancel, and we end up getting 1. Then f of this, right? So we're using the formula for the vertex that's on an earlier slide. So f of this is f of 1, right? That's what we have to calculate. And if you plug it in, you end up getting 2. So from here, we get the vertexes, the point 1, 2. The axis of symmetry is 1. And again, the constant term, that's always the y-intercept, so that's what we have here. I mean, you could calculate f of 0 directly. I didn't do that. It should be easy to see that f of 0 is 3. But right away, though, to answer to address that person's question, I'm able to tell you what the range is right away. I mean, basically, since a is positive, the graph is going to have to open upward. It's going to have to do something like this. Now, the vertex down here, that's the vertex. So that's going to be from 1, 2. And the range is all possible y values. So the range here would be from 2, comma, infinity. So right away, we can get the range. Again, the range is all possible y values. It's going to be from the vertex either up to infinity or down to minus infinity. In this case, it's going up, so we go from 2 to infinity. That's what we have here. And for the x-intercept, same story, right? What we can do is we can use the quadratic formula. And here something really cool happens, as you can see, right? Namely, what we have is this. We have the quadratic formula. Okay? We have minus b, plus or minus b squared and all that. I replace b with minus 2. So this is minus 2, right? Which is just 2. We have plus or minus the square root. That's b squared. Minus 4 times 1 times 3. Okay? Now notice, though, what is this going to be? This is going to be 4 minus 4 times 3, which is 12. So altogether, here we would get 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 16 over 2. Well, you don't take the square root of a negative number, right? Because of that, because of this, the square root of a negative is not a real number. There's no x-intercepts. So what does that tell us? That tells us the graph of this is never going to cross the x-axis. It's never going to touch it. It's either going to stay entirely above or entirely below the x-axis. So going to the graph, yeah, we can see that. So we have here 1, 2, that's the vertex, right? The y-intercept is 0, 3. It's opening upward. The axis of symmetry is x equals 1. Okay? As you can see. Let me get the pen. And the range, as we confirm here that the range is what we thought it would be, from 2 all the way up to infinity. Again, it's all y values, the range. All the possible y values. So you can imagine going from the y-axis, looking at the graph, right? Looking horizontally to the graph. And if you see the graph looking to the left or right, then where you are is in the range. You're in the range. So if you're over here, we see the graph, we're in the range. Looking horizontally to the right, we're in the range. Looking to the right, we see the range. 3 is, of course, in the range. Here we can look to the left or right. See? You can go left or right, actually. And you can see that, yeah, we're in the range. Now you have to go on the y-axis and go to the left or right horizontally until you hit the graph. That's what's happening here. All right. Are there any questions on this one? I have some other examples. I hate to just keep going through it, though. Well, I guess that's okay. All right. Here's another one. So here we have this one. This one is kind of well, it's not terrible, but it's kind of annoying in the sense that the vertex, the coordinates of the vertex, they're not just, integers. But you can see that A is 1, B is -3, and C is 2. Okay. Okay, so what's the vertex going to? Well, so the next step is you're always going to calculate negative B over 2 times A. But you have to calculate that because we want the vertex. So that's going to be negative 3 over 2 times 1. But basically, when you do that, you get 3 over 2, which is 1.5. I wrote it in decimal form just to make it a little bit easier. And if you were to calculate f of that, plug it into the function. F of 1.5, right? That's going to be 1.5 squared minus 3 times 1.5 plus 2. That turns out to be negative. What does that turn out to be? That turns out to be negative 0.25. So let me fix that. Got to cross this stuff out. So that's what we get here. And again, since A is positive, right away we can determine the range. I mean, we have the vertex, we have the axis of symmetry, we have the y-intercept. Notice, though, with the vertex, since A is positive, the graph's going to open upward like this, as you can see. And the vertex then is going to be down here. So this is the vertex. But you can then see, since it's opening upward, the range is going to be from minus 0.25. And now it's got to either go up or down for the range. Since the graph is going up, you're going up to infinity. And that's how you get the range. So again, you could get the range by graphing it. That's what I was hoping you would see, everyone, I mean. But you could actually get the range without sketching the graph. So we can get a lot about the graph before we actually sketch it, is what I'm saying. All right. Okay, so I think we're out of time now, so let me stop here. Oh, man. There we go. Okay.